To me, the 70s were very inspirational and very influential. With my whole persona as Snoop Dogg, as a person, as a rapper. I just love the 70s style, the way all the players dressed nice, you know, kept their hair looking good, drove sharp cars and they talked real slick. I never wanted to become an actress to avoid the pressures of looking good all the time. My thing about looking good is that it should be the character. If I'm playing a character who's concerned about his body, an athlete, say, I'll get in shape. If I'm playing a character who doesn't or wouldn't, I don't. I almost never get in shape for a movie, even though I know it would be a good career move. For me personally, fitness is more about a lifestyle. It's not just about looking good but also doing stunts. For me, it's a 360-degree approach, whether it's working out, food we eat, sleeping on time, everything comes together to be fit. Design, in its broadest sense, is the enabler of the digital era. It's a process that creates order out of chaos, that renders technology usable to business. Design means being good, not just looking good. It's very flattering to be remembered as a Bond girl with brains and not just for looking good in a bikini. I was a fan of Sophie Marceau in The World Is Not Enough. I think her performance was very underrated. My dad was kind of a pool shark and had a Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin thing going on. I've always been fascinated by the 50s because of him. There was a hip, cool, anything-goes atmosphere back then, but looking good was still a priority. Maybe one of the most heartening findings from the psychology of pleasure is there's more to looking good than your physical appearance. If you like somebody, they look better to you. This is why spouses in happy marriages tend to think that their husband or wife looks much better than anyone else thinks that they do. Theirs is a fine line between living one's truth and looking good. Everything will line up perfectly when knowing and living the truth becomes more important than looking good. The reason why people wear pajamas to the airport in the first place is so that they'll be comfortable during their flight. But you know, typically, air travel is 50 to 75% of the time you spend traveling. The rest of the time you spend in public places like airports and around other people. That's when looking good trumps comfort. My golden rules for looking good are to moisturize to ridiculousness with a really rich moisturizer. And I always take my makeup off before going to bed. What does it mean to have a healthy relationship? It's such a strangely clinical way of talking about interpersonal dynamics, like you can do a white blood cell count and say, no, it's not looking good for that one. It's impossible to have a loving relationship in which you never cause pain and no pain ever is caused to you. Keith Moon is not interested in jazz and won't ever be a jazz drummer because he's more interested in looking good and being screamed at. Knowing that I'm not a model and I'm never going to be has relieved me of the pressure of looking good. If you don't establish yourself as McDreamy, then you don't have to live up to it. Discount my partiality, but my report is that so far the winds of war is looking good. I think the only time that I worry about looking good is on the red carpet. Looking good has never been the most important thing to me. Maybe it's because I'm more conventionally, acceptable, so it's not an issue for me. I don't know. People need to understand that I came this far being chubby and all that. Imagine how far I could go actually being in good shape and looking good. Physically, I was always into working out and keeping myself fit because more than looking good I want to be healthy. Looking good is a commitment to yourself and to others. Wigs, killer heels, Pilates, even fillers, whatever works for you, honey. I feel like I'm kind of lazy, but I keep the yard looking good. I'm not sure what I think about current fashion, though. A few years ago, I would have said it's really, really bad and you hardly ever see anybody looking good. There must be some very good designers in the world. Be fit. It will keep your body and skin looking good. I love dressing up and I love looking good. Part of the reason I wanted to model was to push the boundaries and challenge the perceptions of what a beautiful body is supposed to look like. Why should I feel any differently about looking good than anyone else? I love matching workout sets. There's something about looking good and feeling good, as cheesy as that sounds, and it always makes my run seem a little better. I like beauty to be a bit edgy, not typical. For me, the only rule is looking good. I try to keep in my mind the simple question, am I trying to do good or make myself look good? Too many of our responsibilities get added to our plate when we are trying to please people, impress people, prove ourselves, acquire power, increase our prestige. All those motivations are about looking good more than doing good. We have to keep winning and looking good and keep fighting the best competition out there. My mother was a PE teacher, and she was kind of a fanatic about fitness and nutrition growing up, so it was ingrained in me at a young age. As I get older, I'm finding out it's not about getting all buffed up and looking good. It's more about staying healthy and flexible. I definitely learned to appreciate there is something about looking good. I think it's been sort of lost in the last 50 years, this idea of looking very nice and very put together. Sometimes you don't have the time to prepare yourself for looking good in front of the mirror with what you're wearing. And then when you go to work or go out, you don't like it. I spend a lot of time preparing. People just like feeling good and looking good. So many girls only care about guys and looking good all the time. I might do X Factor next year. It's looking good that I won't get the sack at Christmas. Life is like a wrestling match. A lot of times, things are looking good, and then something happens, and you're fighting from underneath. I know how to dress my figure, so I stay looking good by wearing the right clothes. I'm good at looking good with weapons and stunts. But if you put a bullseye in front of me and asked me to hit it, I'd say the chances of me hitting it are about 1 in a million. I'm always in flats. Jeans, jumper, flat shoes, or a pair of trainers. It would probably surprise people, but I have to be comfortable. It's not about me dressing up and looking good. I've got to get stuff done. Looking good and feeling like death is a difficult combination for people to understand. I think people are addicted to looking good in front of other people. Looking beautiful isn't just about what you apply on your face. It's the little things you do that matter. A combination of a good diet, exercise, healthy habits, discipline, dancing, etc. is what my beauty routine consists of. Also, I have no bad habits. I don't drink or smoke. All these contribute to me being fit and looking good. Rest is the best thing for your body rather than working out or dieting. Sleep can change your whole metabolism, so it's my #1 priority when it comes to looking good. Glamour, for me, is looking good. It has nothing to do with short clothes. I'm not obsessed by how I look or with being read thin, but I do think that as a woman in my 50s, I have 40 years ahead. Looking after yourself goes hand in hand with looking good. People think that just because you're an actress, you have to watch your weight and stay slim. While this is true to some extent, fitness is more about health than looking good. Many times I find that whatever is looking good on the screen doesn't always look or feel good on the body. So who do we design for? Do we design for the screen, or do we design for women? They're still working on the script. They've got to get that nailed down, and they want the first movie to come out obviously, not get too ahead of themselves. But yeah, it's looking good. I love the second book a lot as well, so kind of diving into that is awesome. When I was a kid, dressing right and looking good was a priority. As I grew up, I just wanted to stay that way, stick out a bit and have my own thing. That's where white belts and wearing some colors started. So signing with Puma was a great fit for me. I usually travel with 9 pairs of golf shoes and 10 belts. Visit our website for more quotes, quoting.com.